Paris McCurdy, a free throw wins it. There's no time on the clock. It is up and it is good. The Cardinals win. Bye-bye, Beavers.
Welcome to Ball State Sports Link's Hall of Fame special. I'm your host, Luke Martin. Normally, Sports Link brings you the best stories about current Ball State athletes and how they arrived in Muncie, Indiana. But this is a different occasion, but still a special one. We will dive into the history books and talk about the 2013 Ball State Athletics Hall of Fame class. From the success on the field hockey turf to the sweet success on the hardwood with the 1989-90 men's basketball team. Here is the 2013 Ball State Hall of Fame class. And now we are lucky to be joined by Ball State Athletic Director Bill Scholl. Bill, thank you so much for taking time to join us this evening. And I know this has got to be for you, for your first Hall of Fame class to welcome in. I know it's got to be a big deal to you.
It's very exciting. It is my first class to welcome in. And it's a really cool class. Particularly, I like to think about the Sweet 16 basketball team. But you know, they all represent what we want our current student athletes to strive for. So yeah, it's very exciting.
You mentioned some of those Hall of Fame members, but for you, when you welcome in a new class like this, obviously you're new. This is part new for you. How do you show past alumni that you appreciate the history and what you do? Because sometimes having a new athletic director step in and welcome them in, that can feel a little bit awkward for them. How do you reach out to past alumni and welcome in these Hall of Famers
well,
and make them feel comfortable?
I'll tell you, one of the neat things about this past summer was it was a bit of a roadshow, and I was in all of the major cities, at least in Indiana, and had a great chance to meet a lot of our former student athletes. And then events like this, I think, are a tremendous opportunity to make sure that that they understand that I do know a sense of what the history of Ball State athletics is and how much I appreciate what they've done for our programs.
And when you look at modern day students, current students at Ball State, how important is it for them to understand what these athletes did right below us and appreciate the history of what they've been able to do? Because they laid the foundation for them to be able to succeed right now.
Absolutely, and I think it's very important. I also think it's a very challenging issue. It's when I talk with my own children about kind of the generation before them, it's amazing how quickly some of the names begin to recede. And I think it's incumbent upon us to not let that happen.
Well, Mr. Scholl, we appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy night for you. I'm sure it's a great night for you as well. Thank you so much for taking the time. The Ball State field hockey program went through a great stint of success during the mid-1980s, and it was mostly due to Lisa Brown. Brown doesn't know the feeling of not being a MAC champion, leading Ball State to 4 straight Mid-American Conference crowns, only losing 1 MAC match. Here is former Ball State midfielder Lisa Brown.
This evening is quite an honor. They asked me in the interview how I felt when I found out, and it was with mixed emotions because it has been so long since I've been back here. I think it's been 25 years since I've been back here. So it's really kind of sunk in tonight, seeing all you individuals and talking to Fitz and talking to the current field hockey coach. I guess it really is a wonderful accomplishment. So this is the first time it's really, really sunk in.
And as you saw right there, our first Hall of Fame inductee we get the opportunity to talk to will be Lisa Brown. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. And I know this has to be a huge honor for you being able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It is. It's a pleasure to be here.
For you, I know when you start off here at Ball State, thinking of being inducted into the Hall of Fame probably doesn't even cross your mind, but when you look back to your time during Ball State, obviously you won those 4 straight MAC titles during your time here. What's a moment that you will never forget during your time here at Ball State as an athlete?
One moment out of 4 successful years? That's a tough question. I guess getting on the All-MAC team each time that I was nominated for that, those were really special moments. Other than winning, and the All-Regional team, that was a nice personal moment because the championships were all team related. But on a personal note, those are those are the most exciting.
When you look at field hockey, you obviously now coach at a high school level. Is there a lot of differences from the time when you played to current day field hockey?
There are a few differences. I have to remind myself when I'm coaching that the style changes because I'm still in the old style a little bit, but that depends on the skills that I have from my current players. And I have to go with that first, getting them to understand the game. But we're still not at that level that you're seeing on TV right now.
Once again, looking back at your Ball State days, with all the talent that you were able to have and all the accomplishments that you've been able to have, how much has that been able to help you coaching high school as well?
A huge amount. It not only affects the kids that I coach, but it also affects my family. Being a family of athletes, it's that mental awareness and that mental toughness as well as your skills that you develop. So that's something that I've had to share with all the athletes that I coach.
Now obviously you got some kids around that high school, college age. Any of them got those field hockey traits like Mom had?
Well, my middle one played in high school, but unfortunately my girls are swimmers and my son's an ice hockey player.
Well, that's still athletic talents that I don't have either. But Lisa, thank you so much for joining us and congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
There are many athletes who travel a long way to get to Muncie, Indiana, but not many travel as far as Ryan Baxter did from South Africa. Baxter is a former Mid-American Conference Player of the Year, helping lead the Cardinals to the NCAA tournament during his career. From the 60 career wins overall to the 15 wins in the NCAA tournament, Baxter is one of the best to ever play in the Cardinal and white on the tennis courts. Here is former Ball State tennis player Ryan Baxter.
To say tonight is a special night for me is a gross understatement. It is the culmination of the very first time I picked up a tennis racket 25 years ago when I was 8 years old. As a collegiate athlete, there is no greater honor than to be enshrined into the BSU Athletic Hall of Fame. I am deeply humbled to stand in front of you tonight and accept that honor. To my coach, I played for him. I've had the privilege of being a coach with him alongside him. There is no finer leader of men that I know in any sport. To say that he changed my life is an understatement. To say how much he means to me, I can never do justice to. I know one thing though, Coach, is that I'm taller than you, and that doesn't happen very often. But I think by now you know how much you mean to me, and it's an honor to have you here tonight because usually you're on the road. You know I love you, and going into battle with you is a true honor.
And now we are lucky to be joined by Ryan Baxter, former Ball State tennis player as well. He was also MAC Player of the Year as a tennis player as well. And he's still a coach and still around this Ball State program. Coach, congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame. I know it's got to be a big deal to you.
Thank you very much. It sure is.
Well, Coach, like I mentioned, you're still involved heavily with the program as a coach, but when you think back to your playing days, what's one thing you enjoyed the most during your time here under Coach Richards at Ball State?
It's a good question. It's probably being part of something bigger than myself and competing for a program that has become my family. And being around my teammates and being around a coach, that means a great deal to me.
What does it mean to still be able to remain part of the program? Because I know you have a lot of pride as a player, but to be able to come back as a coach and still be a part of the program and still contribute.
It means everything to me. I feel like it was a natural progression to get into coaching, and I just have a love for this university. I enjoy being a part of practice and the guys and competing, and yeah, it's just very cool to be a part of.
And one guy I know that's helped you a lot is Coach Richards. What does he mean to Ball State tennis and yourself?
That's a very loaded question. I think he means everything. He is Ball State tennis, and he's a coach that certainly has no ego, and it's always been about his players and how he's served his players. But we look at him like a king, and he's done so much for Ball State University. He's done so much for the program. It's just not right to even try and put that into words.
We know for sure there will not be a question of whether Ball State has good coaching on the tennis team, especially when Ryan Baxter is one of the coaches. Coach, thank you so much for your time and congratulations. Worthen Arena has been a centerpiece to watch great Cardinal athletes go to work and produce at a high level. And very few were more productive than women's basketball player Tamara Bowie. Bowie is the all-time leading scorer for the Cardinals and finished her career ranked #1 in blocks and games played. Not to mention, she also was the first player to be drafted into the WNBA out of the Mid-American Conference. Here is former Ball State women's basketball player Tamara Bowie.
To the Cardinal Varsity Club, thank you so much, because I wouldn't have had the opportunity that I had. To my parents for the beautiful collaboration that you two made. To my family that's here right now, I do want to give a special thank you to one of the people that are responsible for me even playing basketball. Gonna be honest, I did not like the game. I was not gonna play the game, but I got a very well-taken message from my older brother who told me that if I did not play, he was gonna beat me up. So, with that incentive, here I am. And it's a blessing to be up here and a true honor. I truly thank everybody who's here, and I am trying to hold the tears back because it is an honor.
And now we are lucky to be joined by the first MAC player to be drafted into the WNBA, Tamara Bowie. Tamara, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I'm sure it's hard to believe that you're inducted into the Hall of Fame right now, because I'm sure it seems just like yesterday you were playing here for the Cardinal and White.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. This is awesome. It's a true honor, and I'm just happy to be here. All the changes that have gone on at Ball State, I mean, it's really exciting.
We will get to those changes in just a moment, but let's talk about your playing days at Ball State. What's one thing that you always cherish about your days here at Ball State?
Honestly, this is probably going to sound cheesy, but my teammates, I mean, we are still close, we still talk, you know, and I don't get to see them as often as I would like, but it's the friendships you gain as you come through playing sports here at Ball State.
When you look back at your time during your time at Ball State, is there a moment that you remember the most on the basketball floor, whether it was a game, a moment in a season, that for you just seemed to click and allow you to get to a moment like today to be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah, definitely. The day at we were playing at Eastern Michigan, and I dropped 40 to break the single game scoring record, and I mean that day was it was an out of body experience, honestly.
And now when you look at the current Ball State Cardinals, like you mentioned, they're under a lot of changes, but Coach Sally doing a very good job so far. Do you get an opportunity to stay up to date with how Ball State's doing? I know you're busy with stuff going on, but do you try to get in touch and stay connected to the Ball State program?
Oh yeah, probably gonna give a little free advertisement here. My iPhone is stuck on Ball State sports all day long, so I try to keep up. And you know, like I said, I don't get back as much, but you know, I do the best that I can.
You think you could play for Coach Sully and help the Cardinals out? I mean, they only got 8 players right now on the roster. I think they could use you.
Okay. If I could, I would.
And no doubt about it. Well, I think every Ball State fan would love for you to suit up again. Tamara, thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations.
Definitely. Thank you.
Ball State football went to its 6th bowl game in school history this past December by competing in the Beef O'Brady's Bowl in St. Petersburg, Florida, and excitement is building once again at Schumann Stadium. But there would be no Schumann Stadium and no current success without past contributions from Cardinal football players such as Todd Wright. Wright was a 2-time first-team All-Mid-American Conference selection and helped lead the Cardinals to their first ever bowl game in 1989. Here is former Ball State football player Todd Wright.
Not going to lie to you folks, I love Ball State University. I was grateful for the opportunity that Paul Shadell and the football program gave to me as an undersized, void of speed, mouthy, cocky, 17-year-old kid. I can assure you that I would not be up here tonight receiving this award if it were not for all those people that I just mentioned. As a football team, you're only as good as your weakest link. You can't do someone else's job. You have to trust the person that's next to you is going to do theirs, and they have to trust that you're going to do yours. I had the trust of all those people I just mentioned and many more. I had their support, and I'm certainly grateful for that.
As you saw out there at the podium, we are now lucky to be joined by former Ball State football player Todd Wright. Todd, congratulations on being inducted to the Ball State Hall of Fame, and thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
My pleasure.
I know it's got to be kind of hard to believe that you're in the Hall of Fame after, I'm sure it seems just like yesterday you were playing football here at Ball State.
It was more than yesterday, but I'm humbled and grateful for the opportunity that Ball State gave me. I'm happy to be here tonight, being inducted with some guys actually that played basketball when I was here, when I was a student athlete. So it's good to see some of those guys again and have the appreciation of that and being back at Ball State University. I love this place.
When you look back at your time here at Ball State as an athlete, we could talk about all the on-the-field success you have. Is there a favorite memory that you have off the field that you were able to enjoy the most?
I would say that the favorite memory that most guys have, including me, would just be the camaraderie and the association that you had with other players that were on the team when you were there. The locker room inside jokes, the road trips that you had, going through the pain and suffering of the games, the adulation when you win, the consoling when you lose. Those are the things that never leave your. It's in your soul and it never gets out.
And now every athlete always had that one guy that always pushed them to the furthest. Always enjoyed going up against. For your time at Ball State during your playing days, was there a player on Ball State or someone you always enjoyed going up against because you knew every time you went ahead against them, against practice or in a game, they made you better?
Well, that's interesting. I don't know so much in practice per se, but I guess there were a couple guys that were the same age that I was from other teams, and you got to play them over the years. You may not be familiar with this, but I grew up in Bowling Green, Ohio. My dad was a college track coach at the university there, so I knew a lot of the guys from Bowling Green. So there were some players that I played against from Bowling Green all the time, and those are the guys that I kind of had a little bit of a rivalry with because I would be home in the summer and so forth. Now, don't get me wrong, I got a lot of teammates that I loved that made me better every single day, but I would say it was more the guys that you would see on a regular basis over the years, and I would bet if you asked the basketball players some of the same thing. They played against some of the same guys all the time. Those are the things that got you going a little bit.
And now, before we let you go, let's talk about current Ball State. Obviously, Coach Limbo coming here, he's done a great job. What do you think about what Coach Limbo is doing with the football program?
I like what Coach Limbo is doing. He's got a plan, and he's executing the plan. Not everything has worked out, I'm sure, the way that he would want it to, but you always have to stick to what the plan is, and he's doing that. The program's on an uptick. Brady had the program going on an uptick. And I think we're moving in the right direction. And again, in 2008 when we went 13-0 or whatever, I get those years confused. I'm getting too old, I guess, to keep track of that. I had so many people come up to me who knew I played football at Ball State. I said, "Hey, I see you guys are 12-0. You're having a great year. 9-0, 10-0. This past year it was the same thing. Hey, you guys are doing well. You're playing in a bowl game." And nothing makes me happier than to have people talk to me about Ball State football.
Well, Coach Limbo's talk about make that next step. If you can get some more Todd Wrights here, I'm sure they can make that next step.
That'd be great.
Todd, thank you so much for your time. What might have been? That is the phrase many utter when they think of the 1989-90 men's basketball team, which came within one possession of knocking off eventual national champion UNLV. But the 1990 season is one of, if not the most memorable basketball season for the Cardinal faithful. The Cardinals were 26-7 on the season and won the MAC regular season title as well as the tournament crown, though the Cardinals are remembered for the madness in March, knocking off Gary Payton and the Oregon State Beavers in the first round and beating the Louisville Cardinals to advance to the Sweet 16. Let's now take a look back at a sweet 1990 basketball season.
10 seconds left. Whiteman spinning, stolen away by Paris. Billy Mutz. He's tied that mark. He's got 6.
Here we go. Hit all the way. Chandler Thompson knocked out of bounds with 2 seconds. All set for the inbound. Mike Spicer will get it inbounds to Harris. A basket, and he's fouled. Harris McCurdy hits the shot. He's fouled on the play. Talk about pressure now. Come on, Paris. Come on, Paris. McCurdy, a free throw wins it. There's no time on the clock. It is up and it is good. The Cardinals win. Bye-bye, Beavers. The Cardinals win. Jump shot is up. No good. Ball State wins. The Cardinals win. The Cardinals win. The Ball State Cardinals are in the Final 16. They defeat Louisville 62-16. The Ball State Cardinals win.
Collective greatness brings with it to campus an excitement and an energy that is hard to replace. It's hard to substitute. And these guys there's no better example of that than what these guys brought to Muncie and the Ball State campus in 1989 and 1990.
It's not just a product of our wins and losses. It was more about us, more about individuals and accepting roles and making sacrifice. And our true characteristics were also developed by many concepts, many contributors to the people that we spent time with. Started with the vision of success from our coaches, our players, old and new. It was a work ethic for practice that developed our style of play. Mental toughness to play our way, regardless of who we played against or what it said on an opponent's jersey. The expectations we held for our own teammates to do what they do best. And those things you could hear them on the floor. If a guy was open and he didn't shoot it, we heard about it. And that's what we did for each other as we competed.
Again, I just want to say, thinking back on us as a team, we really didn't know what we were doing. We were just out there having fun. We were doing what all the support that we had wanted us to do, and that was just go out there and win and have fun. And that's what we did. So we enjoyed it, and that made everything all the more special for us as a group. Even to this day, we all keep in touch. Like Greg said, it's a pleasure to see everybody at any given time. And, we're just happy to be here, and we really appreciate the selection for us going into the Hall of Fame.
And as you can tell, that 1990 Sweet 16 team was very good, and it's sweet to be next to Greg Miller as well as he joins us this evening. Greg, congratulations on the team being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know that's got to mean a lot to you, especially loving Ball State as much as you do.
Well, being local too, and coming from Muncie and the community around here, it's certainly sweet. It's also a lot of fun to be inducted into a Hall of Fame with a team that we enjoyed watching play, enjoyed playing with, and certainly enjoyed spending a lot of time with growing up.
Well, you talked about those days being on the team. When you look back, you can talk about all the success, making a deep run into the tournament, but is there something outside of off the court that you really enjoyed about that team the most that not a lot of people talk about?
A lot of times it's just spending time together, whether it was upstairs in Gym 2 in the summer when nobody was watching us play, or it was on the bus on the way home from a game. It's just time we spent together, getting to know each other, almost turning friends into brothers, and certainly long-lasting friendships that, there's guys down here tonight that we haven't seen in 10 years, and it's like we spent time together yesterday. It's just that close, and just a lot of fun to have this opportunity to get back together.
And now, obviously, the game of basketball has changed a lot since 1990. That was one of the most high moments for Ball State basketball. When you look back at 1990, did you guys think as a team that making the Sweet 16 could be possible?
I don't know if we ever set that goal. We developed a way to play, a style to play, our own style to play, and it really didn't matter who we were playing against or what it said on their jerseys. That's just what we were going to do. And a lot of times, we had a goal of holding the team under 20 at half defensively, Everything else, it was just about guys working together and playing their role and encouraging each other to do their best at what they do.
And like I mentioned, the game of basketball has evolved a lot since 1990 when you played. What's the biggest difference now? Because I know you still watch the game and see athletes compete to today. What is the biggest difference from when you were an athlete in 1990 to now current athletes playing at Ball State today?
I think it's a little faster, it's a little bigger. When you look at your average college athlete, they all seem a little longer too. It's developed into a faster paced running game. We were a half-court team, a half-court defensive team, more built around positioning and concepts together. You don't see that as much in college anymore. It's still there, but it's not quite as prominent as it was. And I think it's also what we had in not a slow down, but a stop you defense. And you don't get to stand in the way of too many people anymore and stop them.
So what you're saying is you could still play today and go up against any athlete right now and beat
well,
them, right?
Maybe for about a minute and a half. And then they get me out, give me a sub, and I'll be okay.
All right, Greg, we know this is a very important night to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And as we went back in time and revisited some of the greatest moments in Ball State athletics with the 2013 Hall of Fame class. For future shows and productions by Ball State Sports Link, be sure to go to ballstatesports.com/sportslink. For Luke Magsman, Joey Busher, Palmer Durr, Chris Taylor, and Joe Hernandez, I'm Luke Martin.